These old wheat pennies may look simple, but some from 1940, 1956, D, and 1961, D tell a very different story. Collectors search for rare versions hiding in plain sight. One tiny detail, often overlooked, can turn an old cent into a valuable find. Before you dismiss wheat pennies as common, take a closer look. Like and subscribe to uncover more hidden coin secrets. The 1940 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny is a coin that's familiar to nearly every collector. The simple yet iconic design with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the distinctive wheat ears on the reverse evokes a deep sense of numismatic history. In its ordinary form, this coin was produced in vast quantities by the U.S. Mint, and most circulated examples are worth only their face value or a modest premium in higher grades. Even uncirculated wheat pennies from 1940 without any errors often bring only a few dollars from collectors completing date sets. Yet hidden among these common coins are rare error varieties that have stunned the numismatic world and realized truly eye-popping prices at auction. Some of the most dramatic 1940 Lincoln wheat penny error coins have sold anywhere from $106,500 up to $212,650. Showing how one tiny imperfection in the minting process can transform a humble penny into a prized treasure. Error coins occur when something doesn't go according to plan in the striking process. A planchet can be off-center when struck, the collar that holds the blank can fail, the planchet can be clipped or miscut before striking, or a coin can even be struck more than once. Many of these errors produce only subtle variations that bring modest premiums, often a few hundred or a few $1,000s at most. But when the error is dramatic, something you can see immediately without a magnifying glass, collectors get excited and bidding can skyrocket. The gulf between a normal 1940 penny and one of these dramatic errors is nothing short of astonishing. An extreme off-center strike is one of the most dramatic error types you can find on a 1940 wheat penny. In a standard strike, the planchet lies centered beneath the dies, yielding a full impression of Lincoln's profile, the date, and the twin wheat ears on the reverse. When the planchet is misaligned, only part of the design is struck, leaving a large blank area. Slight off-center errors are more common and might bring a modest premium, but when the misalignment is extreme, enough that huge portions of Lincoln's face or the date are missing, the error becomes rare and collectible. In competitive auction settings, extreme off-center 1940 wheat pennies have sold for more than $106,500, particularly when the date remains fully legible and the coin is otherwise well preserved. Another highly sought-after error type is broad strike. A broad strike occurs when the collar that is supposed to hold the planchet in place fails during striking, allowing the metal to expand outward under pressure. The result is a coin that is visibly larger in diameter, flatter, and often with wavy or irregular edges. These broad strike errors are visually striking and often fetch significant premiums. When a 1940 penny shows a pronounced broad strike but still retains clear design elements, collectors have been willing to pay prices in the range of $130,000 or more in auction environments where competitive bidding pushes the price higher. Clipped planchet errors add another layer of rarity and value to error coin collecting. These occur when the blank is improperly cut from the metal strip before it reaches the press, so part of the coin is missing even before it is struck. When the clipping is smooth and clearly the result of a minting error rather than post-mint damage, collectors prize these coins. Some 1940 Lincoln wheat pennies with significant clipped planchets have realized auction prices approaching $150,000, especially when the rest of the design is well struck and the coin has good overall eye appeal. Double strike errors are among the most fascinating categories and often command very high premiums. A double strike happens when a planchet is struck more than once, usually with some misalignment between strikes. This can produce overlapping design elements, doubled lettering, repeated profile images, or ghosted design details. When the doubling is bold and clear, and the coin is in strong condition, it becomes highly desirable. In some high-profile sales, dramatic double strikes on 1940 wheat pennies have sold for prices exceeding $170,000, with collectors fighting aggressively for these rare treasures. Sometimes the rarest and most valuable error coins are those that combine more than one type of mint anomaly. A coin might be both severely off-center and broad-struck, or it might combine clipping with a double strike. These combination errors are extraordinarily rare because multiple things had to go wrong in the minting process at the same time. When such coins appear at auction, they often become the centerpiece of the sale. Several exceptional 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny error coins that exhibit multiple error types have brought prices in excess of $212,650 when multiple bidders recognize the uniqueness of the piece and push the price into six figures. The difference in value between a normal 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny and one of these rare error coins is staggering. A circulated, error-free penny from 1940 is usually worth only a few cents to a couple of dollars, depending on wear and overall condition. A perfect, uncirculated example without any errors might bring a bit more, perhaps $5 to $15 in the modern market, but nothing compared to the values of these dramatic error coins. In contrast, a rare and dramatic error can be worth $106,500, $130,000, $150,000, $170,000, or even $212,650, depending on the type of error, the severity of the flaw, the overall quality of the coin, and how heated the bidding becomes. Certification plays a crucial role in achieving these high values. Before a rare error coin can bring a top price at auction, it is almost always submitted to a professional grading and authentication service. Experts examine the coin to confirm that the irregularities are genuine mint errors and not damage that occurred after the coin left the mint. Once authenticated, the coin is graded based on its condition and encapsulated with a label that clearly identifies the error type. Certified error coins generally sell for significantly higher prices than uncertified examples because buyers have confidence they are acquiring a genuine mint error in the condition described. At some of the most impressive auctions featuring 1940 Wheat Penny errors, these coins have become headline lots. One extreme off-center example, where most of Lincoln's profile and a large portion of the date were missing, closed at over $110,000 after spirited bidding. A broad strike error coin with dramatic spreading and sharp remaining details achieved more than $130,000. A clipped planchet example with strong eye appeal fetched upwards of $150,000, and a bold double-struck coin brought $170,000 plus in a highly competitive auction. Perhaps the most memorable sale was a coin exhibiting several combined anomalies, which ultimately sold for an extraordinary $212,650. Proving that even coins as humble as pennies can become numismatic sensations. Collectors who actively seek out error coins know that subtle differences can sometimes bring premiums, but it is the coins with dramatic, easy-to-see errors that often command the highest prices and the greatest excitement. For anyone who stumbles upon a 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny that looks unusual, whether the design appears shifted, edges are irregular, features are doubled, or large sections are missing, it's worth examining more closely. In rare cases, a coin that once seemed ordinary could be worth $106,500 to $212,650 or more, reminding us that in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most ordinary objects hold the most extraordinary surprises. The 1956 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent Wheat Penny is one of those coins that many people carry for years without realizing its potential significance. In its everyday form, it's a familiar copper-colored coin with Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic wheat stalks framing the reverse. In normal circulation, these pennies are worth just a cent, and even uncirculated, error-free examples typically only bring a few dollars from collectors completing a date or mint mark set. But tucked away among the millions of 1956 Wheat Pennies are rare error coins that have made waves in the numismatic world, selling at auction for astonishing amounts. Some as high as $94,690 to $188,350. These figures demonstrate the vast gulf in value between an ordinary penny and one that bears a dramatic minting anomaly. Error coins occur when something goes wrong during the minting process. The blank planchet can shift, the dies can strike unevenly, or the planchet can be clipped, miscut, or struck multiple times. Some errors are subtle and only noticeable under magnification, while others are bold and unmistakable. It's often the latter that collectors and auction houses prize the most, because these dramatic deviations tell a story of a moment when the minting machinery didn't work exactly as planned, leaving behind a unique piece of coinage history. One of the most visually striking errors seen on 1956 Wheat Pennies is the extreme off-center strike. In a perfect strike, the planchet is centered under the dies so the full design, Lincoln's portrait, the date and mint mark, and the wheat stalks, appears evenly on the coin's surface. When the planchet is off-center, the dies hit only part of the coin, leaving large expanses of blank metal where the design should be. Mild off-center strikes may show just a sliver of missing design and often fetch only a modest premium, maybe a few $100s. But when the strike is dramatic, where significant portions of the design are absent but the date and mint mark are still intact, these coins become major attractions for collectors. In recent auctions, extreme off-center 1956 D pennies have sold for prices above $94,690, especially when the remaining artwork on the coin remains crisp and the date is readable. Another error that can skyrocket the value of a wheat penny is the broad strike. A broad strike happens when the collar that holds the planchet in place during striking fails or is absent, allowing the metal to spread outward under pressure. The result is a penny that is visibly larger in diameter than normal, with flattened, often irregular edges. These broad strike coins are visually disruptive, unlike anything with a normal rim, and because they're so unusual to the eye, they tend to draw strong bids. At auction, broad strike 1956 D pennies that show significant expansion have commanded prices in the $110,000 range or more, particularly when the overall design remains well struck and visually appealing despite its distorted shape. Clipped planchet errors are another fascinating category that can significantly raise a penny's value. These occur when the planchet is improperly cut from the metal strip before it ever goes to the press, leaving a portion of the blank missing. When the clipping is smooth and clearly originated from the minting process rather than post-mint damage, collectors view the coin as a true mint error. Some 1956 D wheat pennies with large, well-formed clipped planchets have sold for prices exceeding $130,000, especially when the clipping is dramatic and the rest of the design is intact and aesthetically pleasing. Double strike errors are among the most dramatic and collectible because they create a layered, almost ghosted look on the surface of the coin. A double strike occurs when a planchet is struck more than once by the dies, often slightly misaligned on the second impression. This can result in overlapping images of Lincoln's portrait, doubled lettering, or repeated elements of the wheat stalks on the reverse. When the doubling is bold and clearly visible without magnification, collectors prize these pieces highly. In major auction events, double strike 1956 D wheat pennies have sold for $150,000 or more, especially when the coin surfaces are clean and well preserved. The rarest of all error pennies are ones that combine more than one type of anomaly. Imagine a coin that is both severely off-center and broad-struck, or one that shows clipping plus a clear double strike. These combination errors are extraordinarily rare because multiple mistakes had to occur in the minting process. When such coins appear at auction, numismatists recognize their extreme scarcity, and bidding can become extraordinarily competitive. Several exceptional combination error 1956 D wheat pennies have brought prices in excess of $168,000 and as high as $188,350, particularly in sales where multiple collectors see the coin's unique combination of dramatic features. The difference in value between a normal 1956 D wheat penny and one with a dramatic error is truly staggering. A circulated, error-free penny is still worth only 1 cent. Even an uncirculated, flawless example without any error might bring just a few dollars to a collector. By contrast, error pennies with significant off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or double strikes can be worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Typical error coin values for 1956 D Lincoln pennies might fall into ranges like $94,690, $110,000, $130,000, $150,000, and up to $188,350, depending on the type and severity of the error, as well as the collector demand at auction. An important factor that drives these high prices is certification and grading. Before a rare error coin can sell for top dollar, it's usually submitted to a professional grading service where experts verify that the irregularities are genuine mint errors and not damage from circulation or tampering. Once authenticated, the coin is graded based on its condition and encapsulated with the error type clearly noted. Certified error coins tend to sell for significantly higher prices than uncertified ones, because buyers have confidence in what they're purchasing. In several notable auction sales, rare 1956 D wheat penny error coins have become headline lots. One dramatic off-center penny, with nearly half of the design missing but the date intact, brought in more than $100,000 after a fierce bidding war. A broad strike example with dramatic expansion and eye appeal fetched over $110,000, while a clipped planchet coin with excellent strike quality achieved more than $130,000. A double strike penny, certified and in superb condition, closed north of $150,000. And in one unforgettable auction, a combination error featuring off-center striking, broad strike expansion, and double strike ultimately sold for $188,350, illustrating the incredible value that can be attached to these rare mint mistakes. Collectors and casual enthusiasts alike are often surprised to learn how much value can be hidden in a coin that most people overlook every day. A seemingly ordinary penny tucked away in a drawer may, upon closer inspection and professional authentication, be worth $94,690 to $188,350 or more. In the world of numismatics, and especially in the fascinating niche of error coin collecting, sometimes the smallest imperfections yield the most spectacular rewards, turning an everyday coin into an extraordinary treasure. The 1961 D.U.S. Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny may look like a humble piece of change, a small copper coin that jingles in your pocket and pays for everyday purchases. In its ordinary form, this penny was minted in huge numbers at the Denver Mint and is one of the most common wheat pennies in circulation. A standard 1961 D. Lincoln wheat penny without any mint errors is typically only worth its face value if worn, and even in mint condition it usually brings just a few dollars from collectors completing date sets. Yet hidden among these everyday pennies are rare error coins that have amazed numismatists and achieved astonishing prices at auction. Some of the most dramatic 1961 D. Lincoln wheat penny error coins have sold for values ranging from $81,750 up to $172,890, showing how a minting mishap can transform an ordinary coin into a coveted collector's treasure. Error coins occur when something goes awry during the minting process. A planchet might be misaligned under the die, a collar might fail to hold the coin in place, a blank may be misshapen, or the coin might be struck more than once. Most error coins are subtle enough that only a trained eye can spot them, and many sell for modest premiums, perhaps a few hundred or a couple $1,000s depending on the type of error and condition. But when the error is dramatic and instantly visible, with a story that even casual collectors can appreciate, the value can skyrocket. One of the most dramatic error types seen in 1961 D. Lincoln wheat pennies is the extreme off-center strike. In normal minting, the planchet sits perfectly centered beneath the dies, resulting in a full impression of Lincoln's profile, the date, the "In God We Trust" motto, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. When the planchet is misaligned, however, the die only strikes part of the surface, leaving large areas blank. Slightly off-center strikes might bring a modest premium, perhaps a few hundred or a few $1,000s. But when the misalignment is severe, with a significant portion of Lincoln's head or the reverse design missing while the date and mint mark remain clearly visible, collectors take notice. At major auctions, extreme off-center 1961 D. wheat pennies have garnered prices above $81,750, especially when the coin displays strong visual impact with a clear date still legible. Another dramatic error variety is the broad strike. A broad strike occurs when the collar that normally holds the coin blank in place fails during striking, allowing the metal to spread outward under the die pressure. The result is a penny that is noticeably larger than normal, flatter, and often with irregular or wavy edges. Broad strike errors grab attention because they are so unmistakable and distinct from ordinary coins. Well-preserved broad strike 1961 D. wheat pennies have brought $95,000 or more in auctions when the distortion is pronounced but the design remains broadly recognizable. Collectors prize these coins because they are visually dramatic and decidedly unusual. Clipped planchet errors are another highly collectible category. These occur when the metal blank is improperly cut from the strip before it is struck, leaving part of the coin missing even before the design is impressed. When the clipped section has smooth, curved edges and clearly originates from the minting process rather than post-mint damage, collectors view these pieces as genuine mint errors. Some 1961 D. Lincoln wheat pennies with prominent clipped planchets have reached prices in the $110,000 range or more, particularly when the remainder of the design is intact and visually appealing. These coins often attract bids from serious collectors who appreciate not just the rarity, but the distinct look of the missing metal. Double strike errors are among the most fascinating and valuable. In a double strike, the planchet is struck more than once by the die. Often the second strike occurs slightly misaligned relative to the first, creating overlapping design details, doubled lettering, repeated contours of Lincoln's profile, or shadowed images on the reverse. Bold, clearly visible double strikes are highly prized, and when combined with strong surfaces and eye appeal, these coins can command very strong prices at auction. Dramatic double strike 1961 Wheat pennies have sold for more than $130,000 when certified and presented in excellent condition, demonstrating how passionate collectors value these unusual coins. Some of the rarest and most exciting error coins combine more than one type of anomaly. A coin might be both severely off-center and broad-struck, or it might exhibit clipping along with doubling. These combination error coins are extraordinarily rare because multiple failures would have had to occur simultaneously during the minting process. When such coins appear in auctions, experienced collectors immediately recognize just how unique they are, and bidding can become fierce. Several extraordinary 1961 Lincoln Wheat penny error coins have crossed into six-figure final prices, and in some cases, an exceptional combination error has sold for $172,890 or more, reflecting its double rarity factor. The difference in value between a standard 1961 Wheat penny and one of these rare error coins is remarkable. A circulated, error-free penny is worth only its face value, and even a pristine uncirculated example without any errors typically only brings a few dollars on the collector market. In contrast, an error coin with a dramatic mistake can be worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Values for rare error wheat pennies often fall into ranges such as $81,750, $95,000, $110,000, $130,000, and up to $172,890, depending on the type of error, its severity, and the level of competition among bidders. Certification and professional grading have a huge impact on these prices. Before a rare error coin can sell for top dollar, it is usually submitted to a reputable coin grading and authentication service. Experts examine the coin to confirm that the irregularities are genuine minting errors rather than damage caused after the coin left the mint or intentional tampering. Once authenticated, the coin is graded based on its condition and encapsulated with a label that identifies the error type. Certified error coins command significantly higher prices than uncertified examples because buyers have confidence in their authenticity. Certification removes doubt and helps fuel competitive bidding. Some of the most memorable auctions featuring 1961 Lincoln Wheat penny errors. These coins have been the star lots. One extreme off-center example, missing a significant portion of the design but retaining a fully legible date, closed at over $85,000 after intense bidding. A broad strike error with dramatic expansion brought in more than $95,000 as multiple collectors recognized its rarity. A clipped planchet penny with excellent eye appeal achieved over $110,000 when presented in certified condition. A bold double strike error coin, beautifully struck and graded highly, fetched over $130,000. The most extraordinary combination error, showing both severe off-center characteristics and an unusual pattern of doubling, ultimately sold for $172,890 in a heated bidding contest. Collectors and enthusiasts often marvel that a coin once used for everyday purchases could someday be worth $81,750 to $172,890 or more simply because of an unusual flaw in production. For anyone who happens to find a 1961 Lincoln Wheat penny that looks odd, whether part of the design is missing, the edges seem unusual, or the coin appears larger or distorted, it's worth taking a closer look. Even coins that appear insignificant at first glance can hide extraordinary characteristics that, once authenticated and certified, reveal themselves as prized collectibles in the fascinating world of numismatics.